All right, so back to announcements. We have several public hearings to announce. The first one is a public hearing on July 20th, 2016 at 7 p.m. in Village Hall. Consider local law amending the village code to add a chapter on appearance tickets. And the village attorney is going to explain them as we go, and then I'll make a motion.
Okay. This law would authorize the village administrator, the superintendent of public works, or his designee, the water and sewer superintendent, the fire inspector, the superintendent of parks and rec, and any designee, and the village treasurer to issue appearance tickets for violations of various village laws. Under the existing law, only the police department and the building inspector and his assistants can issue tickets for violations of village law. The building inspector just in the building department. And the concern, Larry had a concern, I guess, that there are instances when it doesn't make sense to use the resources of the police department to investigate, to give tickets for, not investigate really, give tickets for activities that aren't criminal or traffic violations, like not clearing your sidewalk after a snowstorm, or letting dogs run loose in parks, not following the village regulations and disposing of your trash. So this law would allow these various village officials to issue appearance tickets in the areas they're responsible for. It doesn't say, they can give them only in the areas they're responsible for, but that would be the village policy,
It says everything but vehicle and traffic, though, I think.
Not vehicle and traffic,
Yeah.
not criminal. Only the police have the authority to do that.
Right.
So, just an aside about that, what about tree violations? Who's going to be, right now the police do that, so who would be responsible for that?
Well, I'm not sure how the code reads right now, but I guess I would take that up with Larry. Maybe Larry would say that's an administrator to give the violation, or I don't know.
Building inspector.
The building inspector has, in the past, has not wanted to be involved.
Right, right. So that would be, whoever the administrator or the board tells you. I mean, I can't think of any other village official that it makes sense to issue violations for tree tickets for tree violations. That's internal. I mean, if you can think of another official that should be included on this, I really can. I would not put any kind of a board member on the list of people issue appearances.
No, I was reacting more to you saying that they would just be doing, like criminal and traffic violations, because there's other ones that no one else covers. That was what came to mind. The police.
I'm sorry, Mark. I didn't understand that.
You had said that the police would only handle.
Oh, no. The police could give tickets for everything. They're authorized to give tickets for anything. It's just a question of allocation of resources. If you want to give up police time to go say, hey, listen, you should be putting your recyclables out on Wednesday or whatever you recycle. I spend police time doing that, or clearing the sidewalks after a snowstorm.
I think the issue is that only the police can do vehicle and traffic. That's what it's meant to
They
say.
do everything.
Yeah, but
Vehicle
not
and
that
traffic
they
and
can only
criminal.
do that. Yeah, thank you, Janice.
Okay.
So I will make a motion to hold a public hearing on July 20th, 2016 at 7 p.m. at Village Hall to consider local law amending the village code to add a chapter on appearance tickets. Can I have a second? All in favor? And the second public hearing, also on July 20th, to consider a local law amending Chapter 9, Board of Architecture Review of the Village Code to provide for standard review of appeals from the Board of Architecture Review to the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Okay, now this local law would fill a gap in the current law on the review of ARB decisions. The ARB chapter of the code provides that anybody aggrieved by an ARB decision can appeal the ARB decision to the ZBA, and the ZBA the ARB decision. It doesn't provide, however, what standard of review the ZBA is supposed to use in reviewing the ARB decision. Are they supposed to consider it de novo, or are they supposed to see whether it's reasonable, whatever? Now, 99% of the applications that come before the zoning board are for variances, and the standards for granting variances are detailed very specifically both in the state village law and in the zoning code. There's nothing, though, in those laws that deal with what the standard of review is of an agency decision or an ARB decision. So, and recently there have been a couple of appeals from the ARB to the zoning board, and what the applicant has to demonstrate before the ARB, or what they have to demonstrate before the ZBA isn't clear to the applicant, it's not clear to the ZBA either. So what this local law would provide is that in an appeal from an ARB decision, the ZBA is to review whether the decision was, this is language, arbitrary, capricious, and or unsupported by substantial evidence in the record. It's the same standard that's applied when the Supreme Court reviews a board decision in an Article 78 proceeding. You should know in a bunch of other municipalities where the ARB makes decisions, the appeal is to the Supreme Court. You would have to bring an Article 78 proceeding. Irvington actually makes it a little bit easier by letting it be appealed to the zoning board. But to have the same standard of review makes sense. And then it also provides that if the ZBA does reverse the ARB's decision, the matter is to be sent back to the ARB to approve the application, conditions, or take any other action that would be consistent with the ZBA's decision.
And I know we've also shared this with both the ARB and the ZBA.
Yeah, very sensitive to both. I think the CBA is meeting later this week, so I expect you'll have
Great.
comments before the public.
So I'll make a motion to have a public hearing on July 20th to consider a local law amending Chapter 9 Board of Architecture Review of the Village Code to provide for a standard of review on appeals from the Board of Architecture Review to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I just want to be sure that we, in fact, I know Larry's not here, so maybe Brenda can make a note for him. We want to follow up because I think the ARB was a little bit confused about, I know from hearing them about interpreting that phrase and what that really implied. So.
Well, it's a phrase that the ZBA will be very familiar with. All lawyers, it's a very common
I
legal
understand
phrase.
that.
Yeah.
My point wasn't that. My point was ARB because there was at least one member of the ARB, possibly two, that were kind of flipping out over that as my characterization, because they just read it literally by the words, not as a term of the art or something.
Well, even by the words.
All right, I don't want to get into an argument about it. I'm just trying
Well,
to
I'm
say
not
that I
getting
think.
into an argument. All I'm saying is that the words unsupported by evidence seem to me.
Well, unsupported by evidence is the last clause, but what they were really reacting to were the words about capricious, et cetera. So the point is that, my point I was trying to make was we need to ensure that we reach out to them. If we're going to get some useful comments from them, we got to make sure they understand what this really means. That was my point. I tried to walk them through it once with a discussion, but I don't know how successful I was.
Very good, yeah. I mean, I hope to hear back from them, even if they say we don't have any comments from both of them. You know, I assume they will have some comments, but we definitely want to hear from the two boards that are going to be most affected, so. And the last public hearing on July 20th, to consider local law amending the zoning code to permit in-law apartments and one-family dwellings as an accessory use.
Yeah, now, this local law would add a new accessory use to single-family residents throughout the village. It would be an apartment for a family member or caregiver, and the term family member is defined as anybody related by blood, marriage, or adoption. Now, in-law apartment isn't really a precise term. It's actually not descriptive because the person may very well not be your in-law. You know, it could be a caregiver, it could be your mother who's not your in-law. But it's what these units are commonly called. So we're shorthanding and calling it the in-law apartment law. Under the existing zoning code, if you have an apartment for a family member or a caregiver would not be allowed in your house if it has a kitchen. A separate living area with a kitchen would be a second dwelling unit, which would change the house then into a two-family house, which isn't allowed in the one-family districts or where one-family houses are allowed. Now, the other thing that's important is the use wouldn't require any sort of a special permit. If you meet the standards, you can have one. Similar to home offices. Home offices are an accessory use. There's requirements you have to meet, but if you meet them, you don't have to have a special permit. Now, I'll go through the requirements. All right, as I said, it's solely for the use of a family member or caregiver and their family. So it's not just the caregiver, the caregiver's family could be there as well. Provided that the in-law apartment has to be located within the principal dwelling, not an accessory structure. And there has to be an unobstructed passageway between the in-law apartment and the main dwelling unit. And the reason for that is so that you can have a separate apartment, whether it's a shared living room or it's just an open hall. It has to be an unobstructed passageway. The owner or the lessee of the single-family residence must occupy either the main dwelling or the in-law apartment as their principal residence. Only one in-law apartment is permitted per single-family residence. The single-family residence can't also have an accessory apartment. No exterior changes can be made to the house that would alter the single-family character and appearance of the house. The main dwelling unit and the in-law apartment must share common water, sewer, and electric facilities, no separate metering. The house has to be lawfully existed in compliance with the zoning code, the building code, and everything. And then, so what the owner of the single-family residence then has to file a registration form with the village clerk stating that it complies with all those requirements. And then the building inspector has to go through and issue a signed statement saying that he's inspected it and that it complies with the sections that he would have, be able to seek an inspection. And then if a residence with an in-law apartment is sold or transferred, the new owner may, within 90 days from taking title or leasehold, file a registration form with the clerk containing those things. Of course, it would have to meet all those requirements also. Now, this draft law was sent to the Housing Committee, which met last week. Connie may have more to say about that. They made a couple comments which were incorporated into the draft. But it was also sent to Ed Marin. I haven't heard from Ed on it. I don't know if Larry has, but that's another person. Well, I have to follow up before the public hearing to see if Ed has any comments. But I don't know if Connie has.
No, you did an excellent job explaining. I think just by rereading that very first part of section 1.9, where it says, in-law, a single-family residence may contain an additional living area, including a kitchen, solely for the use of a family member or caregiver and his or her family of an occupant of a single-family residence, provided that, and then all the things that Mary Ann just, that wording was carefully looked at by the committee and adjusted accordingly. So a lot of time and attention went into some of that word. From my understanding, they are very happy to have the hearing begin and get this moving along.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to have the public hearing to consider local law amending the zoning code to permit in-law apartments and one-family dwellings accessory use. That's also for July 20th at 7 p.m. at Village Hall. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? On to the next, Lions Club proclamation. The Lions Club has for years supported the Averyton Police Department, including giving a generous donation every year to the DARE program. And we're kind of turning the tables a little bit, and they're honoring our officer tomorrow night at their annual dinner, which unfortunately I can't attend because my daughter is graduating from 8th grade. But we're actually honoring the Lions Club at the same time with the proclamation. So thank you again to the Lions Club for all their support over the years. Fireworks. I have seen a lot of people emailing and posting on Facebook asking if there are fireworks. There are fireworks on July 4th at dark, like they are every year. So please don't call the police department and ask them what time they start. They start when it gets dark. If you need a hard time, call it 8:55. But it's a a little before 9 o'clock they should start, but not until it's dark. I know Connie, Mark, do you want to give a little wrap-up of Celebrate Irvington?
Oh, I did want to just make one other announcement that we made last week. I was just looking for my notes, but it's June 21st tomorrow, I believe, if somebody checked this, which is the last day of the town of Greenberg's appointments with the assessing group. Now, there are other dates other than that related to the whole issue of tax assessment, but I believe it's something like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. You have to have called if you want to have an appointment for that with the town assessing, I'm going to say one of the town assessors or assessing board. And that would be June 21st, seems to be tomorrow, right?
That's right, correct.
But yes, I did want to thank a lot of people who helped out with the Celebrate Irvington yesterday. The person who I think I would most like to thank is Mr. Robert Indorf, who is a gentleman who made a video in Irvington in 1972. And he came on Sunday. I think, Brian, you saw him. Mark, I don't know if you saw the whole movie, but you saw the gentleman. And he was so appreciative that the video he had taken, which was on the big canister, was redone by Michael Hanna and some others, and with the support of the Historical Society. And he spoke before it, and it was shown upstairs on the big screen with great sound, and there was a great crowd there. Some people remembered it, some people, his son was there, who was shown on a little banana bike, in the show. So what Broadway looked like, what the waterfront looked like. A lot of people want to see it again and put on stops, so you can say, hey, where was that exactly? So he was very gracious and lovely, and he added a lot to the day. But many others did, many departments did, and I would say the schools, kids that performed were great, playing music in front of Sunnyside. Main Street School artists, those kids had their artwork out. So there was school, and there was a lot of different things, including the businesses, and certainly supporting Sunnyside, supporting the trolley, which was filled every single time. People were turned away on the trolley. But Mark could fill you in on the other great activity that related to the kids and the contest.
So, yes, we had Brian come to Village Hall, and he wore his special suit, seersucker suit. No, I think he was going to wear that anyways, but he did present the awards, and we had a screening of the winners in both the long and short form category for the Walk Safe video PSA contest. And we had some great stuff. And we gave out certificates and prizes, and hopefully we'll be doing something like this next year. I just wanted to say that thank everyone who submitted something, and especially congratulate the winners and thank the judges. And finally, the material, the list of winners and the demo, the winners reel is on the Facebook page, Slow Down Irvington Facebook page. So you can click on it and watch. It's about 4.5 minutes long, so it's not too much of an investment in video. And I wanted to thank David, what's his last name, Lovett?
Oh, Dave Lovett, yes.
Yes.
The theater.
I keep blanking out on his last name, of the theater, who put together a really great photo op prop with Rip Van Winkle driving a VW bug, a yellow VW. So and we had it outside, out front of Village Hall, and parents and kids were getting pictures driving in the back seat of the car with Rip as the driver. It's now in the Village Hall lobby for whoever wants to come over, and I hope it will be there for a little while. So come by and take some pictures. What else do we
I thank
need?
Dr. Mack.
Oh, yes, thank you, yes. And Dr. Mack supplied the iMac for the presentation. We were showing not only the the winner's reel, but we also had Larry Fusella was the person who created the Tiffany Trails website, was on site giving demos and talking people through what material was on the Tiffany Trails website. So all in all, that was our AV Madness in Village Hall Rotunda area, or whatever you call that, the main hall. And finally, as always, two things about slow zone signs. Yard signs are available up in the Rotunda. You can talk to Karen in the administrator's office and she'll point you the way. These signs are free, and please come and get them and stick them around your neighborhood to remind neighbors and people transiting through your neighborhood to slow down. And finally, we also have a very short, well, not that short, it's 4 or 5 pages, listing all the stuff that the Traffic Calming Committee has come up with recommendations, and these are all in the short form. As you know, in our last work session, we presented, they came and presented, and it was a pretty detailed set of recommendations and an extensive spreadsheet of material. This is kind of like the layman's version of that. So you can, this is again, in Village Hall lobby. You can come and pick it up and read through it and see if your pet solution or pet grievance is in here or not. And if not, please contact the traffic committee and let them know what your ideas are. All right. That was more long-winded than I wanted.
How much did you want to hear, Brian? You got heard it all. We now know.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'll wrap up with one off-topic thing that I just saw an email come through that the Senate defeated all 4 of the gun control bills tonight, so a little bit melancholy for the rest of the meeting, but there is no correspondence, and maybe we'll have a moment of silence for failed gun control once again.
I think that the person who walked out at the last moment of silence in the Senate had the right idea. We're way past where we should be silent about this.
It's ridiculous.
Do you know what the votes were? I mean, maybe that's, we'll look it up. I just want
It was almost-
who to send the nasty grams
It was
to.
almost right along party lines.
See, I just don't get that.
71% of NRA members apparently support no fly, no buy, but couldn't even get that one through. So congratulations, terrorists who now have their Second Amendment rights defended for yet another day.
Right.
So, speaking about getting things passed or not passed, do we know if the governor signed the,
I don't think so yet. I think we'll get.
The
I
assessment.
think we'll find out.
And we'll find out soon, but I think that's really the biggest wild card of all of them, is you never know what the governor's going to do. So
But
it
I-
seems to be,
I-
hotel tax as well.
I could add that once that is signed, then the town board must adopt that that state law. And there will be 2 meetings in Greenberg related to it, so I would suggest people who are interested in that law keep in touch with the Greenberg calendar. I have some dates that I've been told, but just because it's passed in the state, it won't happen unless the Greenberg board essentially adopts it. So that's an important piece too.
I think Howie has some influence over it, but
We can speak up, Benny.
public comment. Any public comment?
Not from me.
To the consent agenda. Anyone have any questions or comments?
I'd never seen the village registrar or deputy, then I looked back and saw the last time it had been signed, it was 2010, so.
Yeah.
I think it's right. In the past, we didn't put it on, we just thought we would put it on the consent agenda. It's time to renew some paperwork with the Board of Health. It's primarily to sign for birth and death certificates that occur in the village.
Oh, my.
So if someone passes in their home, they need to get the death certificate from Irvington. It's not too often we get them, but occasionally.
And birth?
I've had, since I'm here, I had one birth, a home birth.
Oh.
So you had to provide proof that the baby was born here, it was their baby. So that's not a frequent thing, but it does happen.
Oh, before you know it, we'll start having Uber births as well.
The what?
Really? Oh, that's possible, sure.
On the way to the hospital.
On the way to the hospital.
Yeah. All right, wow.
So if there's no questions other than comments on the village registrar and the deputies, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda if I can get a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approval of agreement with Mercy College for the use of a bus for the day camp. I think this was very similar to the previous time we did this for the summer day camp. I know we met recently with Mercy and they agreed to let us do it again. The irony was the last time that they let us use their bus, it does say Mercy College on the side, and they actually got heat for driving through Ardsley Park because they thought that they weren't supposed to be coming through Ardsley Park. So I'm going to try to send an email blast at least saying that, thanking Mercy for allowing us to use their bus to drive our daycare students and save us, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars as the kids go up to the pool. Georgina? I was commenting on this, I said that's pretty real time. But I don't think that there's too much to discuss here.
I mean, we end up paying gas and for the driver.
driver,
Yeah,
that's
so
right.
it really is quite a nice little thing.
It really is.
Mercy to do.
They really don't get anything out of it other than grief the last time, which is,
Try to get logo through Ardsley.
this is unbelievable. So there's no further questions. I will read it. Whereas the Village of Irvington and Mercy College have reached an agreement to provide for use of a coach bus by the Irvington Recreation Department, now therefore be it resolved to authorize the Superintendent of Recreation and Parks to execute an agreement with Mercy College regarding the use of a coach bus. Would someone like to make a motion so I don't make all of them? Or I could make the motion if someone would like to second it.
Second.
Now, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, I'll just keep going. I'll just be the motion guy. Keep it in motion.
Ooh.
Now for something meaty, the capital budget. Brenda, do you want to give us a quick synopsis?
Be happy to. We met with all the department heads, going back, I'd say it was in May, we started the process after we adopted the regular budget to see what the capital needs would be for the village going for the current year and going forward. So the budget is really a capital plan, identifies the projects going forward as well, but we focus on the ones that are being adopted for fiscal 16-17. So those are the ones we're going to be bonding for. The next meeting, we'll have bonding resolutions for the board to pass. And what it is really a balancing act between the needs of the village, what we can do with the constraints of time, what we think we can accomplish next year, and also to live within the tax cap next year. So we, after some adjustments and working through the process, we've come up with a debt service that will be at about 1%. So next year we are retiring about $200,000 in debt that comes off, but we're putting on, actually we're retiring about 140 and putting on 200. So it's a net difference of about $40,000. So it's about $40,000 increase in debt. It's a meaningful part, I think.
The original draft was around 110,000 or something like that. So we were able to push some projects out. None of them were critical, or we're not going to lack maintenance on things. I think some of them were nice things to have.
And so we can start the planning on beforehand, but it would be, let's say, instituted the next year.
Right.
With the worship.
This is, I think, the third time now we've now discussed the capital budget as well. For anyone just tuning in at the last moment. I think the largest thing we added was the feasibility study for Town Hall Theater, and including the air conditioning, which is the renovation for the front of the Town Hall Theater, making a more accommodating and user-friendly entrance, as well as potentially creating a little space and things like that. I think that was the biggest add, and then we did push some things out.
I assume these are all Information is on the website for people, if they were interested in seeing what capital projects.
Right, we do
We-
publish it, we publish the capital budget.
Right.
So once it's adopted, I will be putting that on. We have the regular budget on, and then also on the capital budget. So it comes to debt service increase of about just under $1.5 million. Another large one was also the walls and pond repairs.
Yeah, that project turned out to be bigger than we had hoped. Any other questions or comments on this? All right, then I'll make a 16 capital budget. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of an extension of the Stop DWI Patrol Project reimbursement agreement with Westchester County. I think this is just, again, just renewing another 4 years of something that we've been doing for a long time. I believe that the county gets money from the state for Stop DWI, and then they can reimburse us for work we do here in Irvington. I think it's the short of it. So this allows us to have our own local Stop DWI checkpoints and things like that in the village.
And get it reimbursed for it.
And get reimbursed for the overtime, exactly.
So it's about $8,000 per year.
Which only covers a certain amount of drinking, I suppose. You know, a certain amount of stops.
Yes. The rest we have to pay for ourselves. This allows us to do a couple extra schedules throughout the year. So,
Well, it's a very important effort.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
mean, we're spending so much effort on safety here. This is obviously still an important part of pedestrian and driver safety, so I can't imagine not pursuing this.
absolutely. And there's no downside to us,
Right.
you know, it's, we're getting reimbursed for, you know, it allows us extra time that we don't have to pay for. This is a long
Go for it.
resolution. Whereas, it is the desire of the Village of Irvington to continue to participate in the Stop DWI program with Westchester County and to receive reimbursement for a portion of the overtime costs incurred during the program. And whereas the village previously approved an intermissible agreement for a 4-year term ending on December 31st, 2015, and whereas the parties wish to extend the agreement to December 31st, 2020, and whereas the agreement has been reviewed and approved by the police chief and the village attorney, now therefore be it resolved to approve an extension of the Stop DWI Patrol Project for Irvington and Westchester County to December 31st, 2020, and authorize the village administrator to execute said agreement. I will make a motion. Can I have a second? Second. All in favor? Sorry, the sun is breaking my eyes now.
That glare.
Award of contract for Irvington Town Hall Fire Alarm System. Brad, are you involved in this at all? I didn't really have a lot of background on this. I mean, I think it stands on its own, but
It does stand on its own. It's to upgrade the fire alarms in the village hall, it's the smoke detectors, it's to make sure things are compliant. I believe it's a little more perhaps computerized than it is now. Not really sure about all the specifications of it.
do you know how much
Some
we,
of the compliance issues.
do you know how much we had budgeted for this?
That's the other.
I can tell you that, you can look it up.
Just curious. I mean, it's obviously something we have to do, but I'm just curious if we knew it was going to be this expensive or not.
Okay?
I'm very much in favor that the low bid came from a local contractor.
Yeah, exactly. Right, yeah.
Guess they saved on gas.
Exactly. I don't know that much stuff.
Gas and tolls.
But I mean, I think we're going to.
120,000.
Okay. Look at that, savings. So I'll go ahead and read it if no one has any questions or concerns. It is nice, that's the local company one. Whereas sealed bids were received and opened on June 8th, 2016 at 11 a.m. in Village Hall as follows. Consolidated Hudson, 64 Main Street, Irvington, New York, $85,950. And LKM Limited, 31 Payson Road, Cornwall and Hudson, New York, for $119,000. Whereas the village administrator has reviewed the bids submitted and determined that the lowest bidder is in order and responsive to the specifications. Now therefore be it resolved that the clerk treasurer is authorized to issue a purchase order for the Irvington Town Hall fire alarm system at the cost of $85,950 from Consolidated Hudson. I will make a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Now, this isn't security, it's just fire?
Fire,
Just fire.
fire. Security will be in this capital budget.
Okay, just,
And I think I said Irvington Town Hall Theater, but it's just Irvington Town
Town
Hall
Hall.
fire alarm system,
Right,
yeah.
Irvington Town Hall fire alarm system.
Yeah, it's the elevators, it's the entire, it's a lot of
everybody.
sensors all over.
The award of contract for joint paving.
There's a,
Oh, yes, this is,
a changed piece of paper here on our desk.
We got an updated, sure I have the most up-to-date one here.
I guess I don't understand, maybe somebody can explain what Alt 1 and 2 is. Was that in the paperwork and I just skipped it?
Alt 1, Alt 2.
Reflectorized pavement marking paint, concrete curbs are included in alternates 1 and 2. I didn't have too much more, it wasn't, there wasn't that much detail other than,
I'm pulling it.
It's not, is it? It's on the last sheet.
yeah, reflectorized pavement marking paint and concrete
It's
curbing.
alternative one and alternative two is
Yeah.
concrete curb.
So it's the base bid for
Square
the-
yards of.
That's what I have in front of me.
There's the base bid for all the, yeah, there's a
Yeah.
comparison has it, but there's not much more than that. You
Yeah.
know, the pavement marking will be reflective rather than not reflective, I guess. And my guess too is that some of the villages probably wanted that. This is the amounts for each place.
Well, maybe they had the option too.
No, it doesn't have
Do
paint
their
at
own
all at
marking.
the top, so the base bid didn't have paint at all.
Yeah.
So this, the background on this is about the fourth or fifth year that we've done a joint paving bid with the other Greenberg towns, Greenberg villages. And it's actually saved us a lot of money, and we have had pretty good experience. I think the one year there was a problem in some of the quality. We didn't actually have it, I don't think, but I think some of the other municipalities did. I think Elmsford did.
The asphalt.
There was something that there was something wrong with it, but that was all resolved. You know, we've saved hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions, I think, if you look across all of the villages in the town. So we certainly want to continue doing this. It was our turn to be the people responsible for bidding it out.
Oh, I see, that's the difference this year.
So, it's some administrative burden on Larry, but, we're so used to, I think now it's kind of become a little bit of old hat with getting it all together. But it's pretty big numbers, well over $1 million, $2 million on one of them for the alternates, so, across all of the villages. Our work is about $184,000.
So do we know if this low bidder ELQ,
We've used them before.
have we, okay, that's exactly my
We've
question.
been very pleased with their work.
Okay.
It's pretty close with PCI.
So we're not deciding on the alternates, or
I think it would be each village decide what they would like to do.
each village decides? So we don't have to decide that now, or it's
No,
part
that
of?
would be the pricing in the bid, and then it would be decided by each village who has a separate contract with the vendor. So our contract will be only for the 184,000 of the 168,000 that was the collective bid. So what the actual quantities are,
168 million.
Almost 1.7 million.
Value of work is 183,000.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
the
so
area.
that's how
Right.
not
So we're-
10%.
Yeah. at 12%.
Summing up to $1 million when you add them all together.
So it would vary with each village's capital plan for road resurfacing for this year.
I can start reading. If anyone has questions at the end before we vote, we can do it. Whereas the Village of Irvington, in a cooperative relationship with the villages of Ardsley, Dobbs Ferry, Elmsford, Hastings, and Tarrytown, has solicited bids for the milling and resurfacing of various street, adjusting manholes, and concrete curbing in the Village of Irvington and partner municipalities referenced above. And whereas a public notice for this project bid was duly advertised in the official newspaper on May 26, 2016, and whereas at 11 a.m. on June 16, 2016 at Irvington Village Hall, all bids are received, opened as summarized below. Contractor ELQ Industries base bid $1,336,909. With both alternates, it was $1,668,783.58. PCI Industries, the base bid was $1,318,845.35. With both alternates, it was $1,688,908.85. And Montesano Brothers, the base bid was $1,400,959, and with the two alternates, it was $2,072,793.25. Whereas the following the unit values bid in the contract and extended totals based upon the engineer's estimates of the work to be performed in the Village of Irvington, the value of work is $183,721.50. The balance of the contract value for work apportioned to the villages of Ardsley, Dobbs Ferry, Elmsford, Hastings, and Tarrytown, collectively summing up to $1,474,262.08. And whereas in accordance with the contract, each partner municipality will separately authorize the contract and be responsible for payment of services performed within their respective municipality directly to the contractor. And whereas after review of the bids, the Village of Irvington Village Administrator and Village Engineer conclude ELQ Industries, Inc. submitted the lowest responsible bid for the work. And now therefore be it resolved that the Village Board of Trustees of the Village of Irvington hereby awards the contract for the work to be performed in the 2016 milling, resurfacing, and replacement of curbing on various streets in the Village of Irvington to ELQ Industries, Inc. in accordance with their unit prices contained in their bid of June 16, 2016 for the work to be performed within the Village of Irvington and the other 5 villages, and to authorize the Village Administrator to execute said contract. Does it generate any more questions? If not, I will make a motion, and I'll look for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Larry, and the other administrators for all their work on that. Again, we get good quality work for a much cheaper price. Now, everyone's favorite part of the evening, reports of boards, standing committees, and officers. Trustee liaison reports. Mr. Gilliam.
Since I had such a long take at the beginning, I'm going to just pass.
More than generous of you.
All right, here we go. This is a report from the Rec and Parks Department. So our PAC is meeting next Wednesday, June 29th at 7:30 at the Senior Center. CAB Community Advisory Board is meeting tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. at the Senior Center. Day camp registration begins, or maybe day camp begins on Tuesday, July 5th at Main Street School. So far we have 260 kids signed up. Maureen DePauli has more info on that. The 26th edition of Teenscape Chapel Camp starts next Monday, the 27th. Teenscape will be held at the ICS School Gym this year. Village Park Passes are available at the Rec Department. And it's important because Park Passes will be required for anyone attending the July 4th fireworks. And just as to accommodate residents, the Rec Department office will be open until 7 p.m. this Wednesday night. The Irvington PBA will hold their second annual Hudson River Sleep Under the Stars sleepover event this Saturday night in Matheson Park. So Matheson Park will be closed starting at 5 p.m. Saturday night and will reopen after 10 a.m. on Sunday morning. 16 high school basketball teams will begin the annual O'Hara Summer Basketball League next Monday night. Games will be held at the Bob Spiesman Memorial Court, in Scenic Hudson, Monday through Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Through the end of July. And an important reminder to residents, dogs must be on a leash while they're on the Irvington Woods trails. We continue to receive complaints from people encountering dogs. And we just encourage people to obey the law and keep dogs leashed at all times for the benefit of everyone. And that's it.
Solid advice. County?
All right, there's a meeting tomorrow of the Historic District Committee. It's 11 o'clock, I believe. The Theater Commission is meeting tomorrow night. I had a message from the Farmers Market updating us on their year. They say they have been off to a very good start. They've added vendors. Traffic has been great. They got additional shoppers from Celebrate Irvington Day. They have new shirts and totes. They've expanded the hours of music, allowing students and other non-professional musicians the opportunity to play in the first hour. They've gotten a lot of corporate sponsors. I won't read them all, but that's lovely. And let's see. And they're, interested in keeping informed about the construction that would be expected to happen next summer related to the Aqueduct Crossing project. There was a date for the Housing Committee. I don't have that in front of me at the moment, the next date, but I think that's it.
Briefly on the library, tomorrow, 6/21, is the beginning of the Circus Project at 3 p.m., open to 4-year-olds and up. And for adults, you can exercise your mind during the adult summer reading program. Registration started on the 16th, but is ongoing. And just to encourage people to check the library website directly or to link to it through the village website, because pretty much every weekend there's a performance or a presentation of some kind or other, and they are all absolutely fascinating. A recent one was learning to paint like Grandma Moses. Also, museum passes are available for 3 days and 2 nights. You can just simply go into the library and ask them, or call the library and reserve them. So if you have someone coming in for the weekend, but passes include the Bruce, the Guggenheim, the Hudson River Museum, the Intrepid, the Museum of the City of New York, the Newburger, Storm King, and Stone Barns. So a very rich resource, our library, so people are most welcome to come. The Water Department, reading water meters, summer maintenance in water department facilities, painting fire hydrants, and installing a new fire hydrant on Beechwood. The Highway Department repaired and rebuilt 2 catch basins on the corner of Erie and Hudson Road, repaired winter damage in Sycamore Lane, assisted the Parks Department at the Nature Center in delivering compost to the senior garden, filling potholes, line and crosswalk painting, no doubt really electric paint, we were discussing, and cleaning the catch basins with the backhaul. That's it.
Excellent. Village administrator is on vacation, so I assume he has no report. Village clerk treasurer's report.
Last week, we had the auditors begin their audit of village finances with sampling of various claims and receipts. So it's the sampling aspect of the audit that took place last week.
Village attorney's report.
No report.
So we do have quite a recess here now. Almost like we're the state legislature. We're not meet again until July 20th. I will be away almost the entire time. I will be on email and phone if anyone needs me. But Connie will be watching things closely in my absence.
I have one question. Are we,
The 18th is the next meeting, July.
The meeting.
Yeah, work session
Yeah,
is
the
the
next
18th.
actual meeting, yeah.
Yeah,
We have a
right.
work session. We flipped them this time.
Right.
Work sessions on the Monday.
July 18th, right, it's a work session, 7 o'clock here, and then the 20th, as you said, yes.
Yeah, where we have a bunch of public hearings, actually.
I think Larry will be back next week, and
Yep. I'm leaving Friday.
Good,
So,
fun.
thank you.
so Brian, do we, how do we feel about a advice of council session for a few minutes after this?
Sure.
To discuss the,
Well, first we'll see if there's any public comment.
no.
No, it's my fault, because I was talking about myself. Review of current action items. I didn't really have anything that I wrote down.
Well, just the one of trying to make sure that the ARB, whatever, that they
Yeah.
actually understand what the, I mean, I would hope what that really means is maybe that Rick would maybe give you a call and just chat with you for a few minutes just to get a better sense of it.
I can make sure, I'll reach out to Rick and make sure
Yeah.
he's
I
comfortable.
saw an email.
Okay,
so-
perfect, that's perfect. So, there being no further current action items, I will make a motion to adjourn.
To executive session.
Yes,
No.
Oh, no.
Can I have a second? All in favor?